The house is finally quiet now. The grandkids have gone home, the porch light is buzzing softly against the cold, and the wind is just starting to howl around the corners of the eaves. It's that special kind of quiet you only get right at the end of the year, when the calendar is about to flip over and you can't help but sit and think for a minute. Come sit with me a minute. Pull that blanket up. Let's get warm. Tonight, I just want to talk about the future, or at least the future we thought we were promised back when I was a boy. I caught a whiff of ozone today. You know that sharp electric smell when an old toy train runs too long on the track and sparks a little? And just like that, I was 10 years old again, lying on my belly on the living room rug, staring wide-eyed at a magazine spread that showed a city in the clouds. I can still feel the rough paper under my elbows and see those bright, impossible colors. We didn't just hope for the future back then. We knew what it looked like. And looking at the calendar on the wall, saying the number 2025 out loud, well, folks, according to the comic books I read in 1958, I should be talking to you right now from a glass dome on Mars. You know, it's funny. We're finally here. We are living in the world of tomorrow that they kept shouting about on the radio. But I look out my window and I see my old pickup truck sitting in the driveway on 4 rubber tires, just like my daddy's truck did, and just like his daddy's Model T did. And I have to ask, where is my flying car? I'm serious. I've been waiting 60 years for it. If you grew up when I did, in the golden age of chrome fenders and tail fins, you remember the promise. We didn't think the 21st century was going to be just modern life. We thought it was going to be the Jetsons. I remember rushing home from school, must have been around 1962, just to turn on that heavy tube television. It took 5 minutes to warm up, buzzing and humming, before the picture finally glowed to life. And there was George Jetson, folding his car up into a briefcase and walking into his apartment in the sky. We believed it. We truly did. I remember arguing with my best friend Tommy on the playground. I told him, Tommy, by the time we're old men, by the time we're in 2025, we won't have roads. Roads are for horses. I was so sure of it. I thought traffic jams would be a thing of the past because we'd all be zipping around in personal saucers. And look at us now. I sat in traffic for 45 minutes yesterday just to get a gallon of milk. If I could go back and tell 10-year-old Pop that in 2025 we still have potholes, I think he'd cry. But it wasn't just the cars. It was the energy. Oh, this is a good one. Do you folks remember the Ford Nucleon? Now, if you're younger, you might think I'm pulling your leg. But back around 1958, Ford actually put out a model concept for a car powered by a nuclear reactor. A nuclear reactor. In the trunk. The idea was, you'd buy this car, and you wouldn't have to refuel it for 5,000 miles. You'd just drive it until the uranium ran out, and then swap the core at a service station. Can you imagine that today? Lord help us. I worry about people texting while they drive. Imagine if a fender bender could turn 3 city blocks into a mushroom cloud. I can just see my father trying to fix it in the backyard. He'd be out there with a wrench in one hand and a Geiger counter in the other, shouting, "Martha, don't come out here, the core's leaking again." We were so optimistic then, we thought science was magic. We didn't think about radiation or safety, we just thought about speed. We thought by 2025, gas stations would be museums. Instead, here we are, still watching the price at the pump go up and down like a yo-yo. And then there were the robots. Oh, the robots. Every magazine, Popular Mechanics, Science and Mechanics, they all had the same picture on the cover. It was always a smiling housewife, wearing pearls and high heels, because apparently you even dressed up to sit on the couch in the future, pushing a single button. And in the background, a mechanical maid with 6 arms was dusting, cooking a turkey, and walking the dog all at the same time. I remember my mama looking at those pictures. She had wash-day hands, knuckles red and cracked from scrubbing clothes and peeling potatoes. She'd look at that robot maid and say, "That'll be the day." She dreamed of that push-button house. Well, we sort of got it, didn't we? We have those little robot vacuums now. You know, the flat discs that bump into the wall and scare the cat? I got one for Christmas last year. I sat there in my chair and watched it for an hour. It got stuck under the sofa, spun around in circles, and then died in the middle of the rug. It didn't look much like Rosie the robot. It surely couldn't cook me a pot roast. Speaking of pot roast, that was the other thing they promised us. Food pills. I don't know why, but futurists in the 1950s were obsessed with getting rid of chewing. They told us that in 2025, we wouldn't need kitchens. You just wake up, pop a little white pill that tasted like steak and potatoes, and you'd be full all day. I thank the good Lord every single Sunday that that one didn't come true. Can you imagine Thanksgiving? The whole family gathered around the table. Nobody talking, just Grandma passing around a bottle of vitamins. "Here, son, take the red one. That's the pumpkin pie." "No, thank you. I want the gravy. I want the smell of the turkey roasting all day long." Some things, folks, just shouldn't be modernized. But you know, as I sit here rocking, looking at this little glowing rectangle in my hand, my smartphone, I realize something strange. We were wrong about the flying cars. We were wrong about the nuclear trunks. But in some ways, we didn't dream big enough. I remember reading Dick Tracy comics in the Sunday paper. He had that two-way wrist radio. He could talk to people on his watch. We thought that was pure science fiction. Impossible. And yet, last night, I held this little piece of glass up, and I saw my granddaughter's face. She's all the way in London, England. I saw her clear as day. I heard her laugh. She showed me her new apartment. In 1960, if you wanted to talk to someone in London, you had to schedule a call, pay a fortune, and shout into the receiver, because the line crackled so much. If you had told me back then, "Pop, pop, one day you'll carry the entire world's library, every movie ever made, and a video phone in your shirt pocket," I would have called you crazy. We thought the future was about power. Big rockets, big engines, big atoms. We didn't know it was going to be about connection. So maybe I don't have my jetpack. And maybe that's a good thing, considering how my knees feel when it rains. I probably shouldn't be flying anyway. But I look around at 2025 and I see wonders we couldn't even put in the magazines. I see medical miracles that keep people like me sitting here talking to you longer than we used to. I see a world where I can learn how to fix a leaky faucet just by watching a video on a screen. But I still miss the style of those old dreams. There was an innocence to it, wasn't there? We looked at the year 2025 like a shiny gold present waiting to be unwrapped. We didn't worry about the problems. We just saw the possibilities. Tonight, as this old year winds down and we step into the new one, maybe we should borrow a little bit of that 1950s optimism. Maybe we don't need the nuclear car, but we could use a little more of that can-do spirit. That belief, that tomorrow's going to be brighter, faster, and more exciting than today. And hey, if anyone out there actually is working on a robot that can do the laundry and fold the fitted sheets, send them my way. I'll keep the porch light on for them. So when you're done listening tonight, please drop down to the comments and tell me your own memory of the future. What did you think 2025 would look like? Were you waiting for a hoverboard, a colony on the moon, or maybe those silver jumpsuits everyone was supposed to wear? I'll be sitting right here reading every single one with the biggest grin you ever saw. All right, let's see if those memory gears are greased up tonight. I've got a quick little quiz for you, just to make sure you haven't replaced your brain with a computer chip yet. Brain Prime Quiz. Question 1. I mentioned a Ford concept car from the 50s. What dangerous thing was supposed to be in its trunk? Answer: a nuclear reactor. Question 2. What was the name of the cartoon family that lived in the sky and had a flying car? Answer: the Jetsons. Question 3. How did futurists say we would eat our meals in 2025 to avoid cooking? Answer: in pills, food pills. How'd we do? If you got most of them, your memory's still sharp as a tack tonight. If a couple slipped away, that's just fine. We're keeping those gears moving, and that's what matters. It's been good sitting with you. As we head into this new year, don't worry too much about whether the cars can fly. Just worry about where you're driving them and who's sitting in the passenger seat next to you. That's the future that really counts. Hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell so you know when I'm back on the porch. Join me tomorrow for a special story about Hoppin' John and why you better eat your peas on New Year's Day. Until then, take care of yourselves, and may the Lord bless you.